The dress was ready. The guests arrived. The groom never did. This isn't the beginning of a sad movie. This is the story of how the worst day of my life turned into the most important one. My name is Chloe, and I was supposed to get married 5 years ago today. Everything was perfect, or so I thought. The venue was a beautiful old manor house, decorated with hundreds of white roses and fairy lights. My dress was a custom-made lace gown that I had dreamed about since I was a little girl. My friends and family had flown in from all over the country. There was just one missing piece. The groom. As the minutes ticked by, turning into a painful, slow-motion hour, a cold dread started to seep into my heart. My maid of honor, my sister Sarah, was frantically making calls, her face growing paler with each unanswered ring. My father stood by the door, trying to reassure arriving guests with a strained smile. I just sat in the bridal suite, staring at my reflection, feeling like an actress in a play where the lead actor had forgotten his lines. The air was thick with unspoken questions and pitying looks. Is he okay? Did something happen? Did he get cold feet? The call finally came, not from him, but from his best man. The words were a jumbled, apologetic mess, but the message was crystal clear. He was gone. He had packed a bag and left a note saying he couldn't go through with it. He was sorry. Sorry. That one word felt like a tiny, useless bandage on a gaping wound. In that moment, the floor didn't just fall out from under me. The entire universe seemed to collapse. All the dreams we had built, all the promises we had made, all the future I had so carefully planned, it all shattered into a million unrecognizable pieces. The humiliation was a physical pain. I had to walk out of that bridal suite and face a room full of people who had come to celebrate my love story, only to witness its abrupt and brutal ending. My dad, bless his heart, took the microphone. I can still hear the tremor in his voice as he announced that the wedding was off. The silence that followed was deafening, broken only by a few shocked gasps and the quiet shuffling of feet as guests, unsure of what to do, began to leave. They left behind a feast that would never be eaten, a cake that would never be cut, and a dance floor that would remain empty. That night, after everyone had gone, I sat alone in the middle of that grand, empty ballroom. I had refused to take off my wedding dress. It felt like admitting defeat, surrounded by dying flowers and half-empty champagne glasses. I let myself break. I cried until I had no tears left. A raw, primal scream of grief for the life I thought I was going to have. Sarah found me there, hours later, my makeup a mess, my beautiful dress now just a costume for a tragedy. She wrapped me in a blanket and just sat with me, not saying a word, which was exactly what I needed. The days that followed were a blur of sympathetic phone calls and well-meaning but useless advice. You're better off without him, they'd say. Time heals all wounds. But time felt like my enemy, stretching out before me as an endless expanse of emptiness. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I replayed every moment of our relationship, searching for clues, for red flags I might have missed. Was I not enough? Did I do something wrong? The self-doubt was a poison, twisting my grief into something much uglier. Shame. I packed away the wedding gifts, canceled the honeymoon, and tried to piece my life back together, but I felt like a ghost haunting my own home. Everything reminded me of him. The coffee mug he used every morning, the stupid comedy show we loved to watch together, the dent on his side of the sofa. It felt like he was everywhere and nowhere at the same time. I knew I couldn't stay there, marinating in my own misery. I needed a change, a drastic one. So, I did something crazy. I looked at the non-refundable honeymoon tickets to Thailand that were sitting on my counter, a painful reminder of what should have been. And on a whim, I decided to go. Alone. My family thought I was having a breakdown. Maybe I was. But the idea of staying in that silent, sad apartment was far scarier than traveling to the other side of the world by myself. I packed a single suitcase, left the wedding dress hanging in my closet, and boarded a plane with no plan, no expectations, and a heart full of broken pieces. Landing in Bangkok was a complete sensory overload. The heat, the smells, the chaotic symphony of traffic and chatter was the exact opposite of the quiet, orderly life I had known. And it was exactly what I needed. For the first time in months, My brain was too busy processing my new surroundings to dwell on my heartbreak. I was no longer the girl who got left at the altar. I was just another traveler, anonymous and free. I decided to forego the luxury resort we had booked and instead found a small guest house in Chiang Mai, a city in the mountainous north. I spent my days exploring ancient temples, getting lost in bustling night markets, and hiking through lush green jungles. I took a cooking class and learned to make pad thai. I spent a whole afternoon at an elephant sanctuary, feeding and bathing these gentle giants. With each new experience, a tiny piece of my broken heart started to heal. I was discovering a side of myself I never knew existed. A brave, independent, and resilient woman. One evening, I was sitting at a riverside bar, watching the lanterns float up into the night sky. An older woman, a fellow traveler from Australia, sat down next to me. We started talking, and for some reason, I told her everything. The whole story. I expected pity, but instead, she smiled. She told me about her own divorce decades ago, how she thought her life was over. But then she started traveling, and she never stopped. Sometimes, she said, the universe has to completely wreck your plans so you can find your true path. Her words hit me with the force of a revelation. Maybe this wasn't an ending. Maybe this was a beginning. My ex-fiancé didn't break me. He liberated me. He took away the future I thought I wanted, and in doing so, gave me the freedom to find the future I truly needed. I had been so focused on being part of a we that I had forgotten how to be just me. This journey wasn't about running away from my pain. It was about running towards myself. When I finally returned home 2 months later, I was a different person. The sadness was still there, a faint scar on my heart, but it no longer defined me. The shame was gone, replaced by a quiet confidence. I sold the apartment we were supposed to share and moved into a smaller place of my own, filling it with art and souvenirs from my travels. I reconnected with friends, started a new hobby, and poured my energy into my career. I started living my life for myself, on my own terms. A few years later, I started my own business, a travel consultancy specializing in solo adventures for women. I use my story not as a tale of woe, but as a testament to the power of resilience. I help women who are at a crossroads in their lives, whether from a breakup, a job loss, or just a feeling of being stuck too, find themselves through travel, just like I did. It's funny, the dress is still hanging in the back of my closet. I never got rid of it. Sometimes I look at it, not with sadness, but with a strange sense of gratitude. It's a reminder of the day my world fell apart, but also the day I started to build a new one, a better one, a world that was entirely my own. The wedding never happened, and for that, I will be forever grateful. It was the catastrophe that saved my life. Thank you for listening to my story.